My name is Kate Bratt. Welcome to my home. This is my 6th or 7th year teaching at the University of Minnesota Ballroom Dance Club, which is weird. That means I've seen a lot of people graduate, which is weird. If you just tuned in, it helps if you have a chair or like a wall or something to maybe hold on to for class, and then an object that you can walk around, like something about yay big is fantastic, like a waste basket, or somebody has a pot. I really enjoy that. So if you can get those two objects, it'd be great. The other thing that we're still trying to figure out is how to play music well. So we might not dance with music today, which is kind of a bummer, but I'll hopefully give you enough information that you can go ahead and practice it with your own waltz music on your own. If you have a question as I'm going along, try to save it in your head for a second, although I think Ames is also like our moderator, so you can chat it as well. But as we go along, I'll ask if anybody has questions, and you can do the thing where you're like, hey, I have a question or whatever, and I'll try to get to those either in the middle of class, or if you have like a big question, you can wait till the end of the class and we'll see if I can get to it then. Yes? Yes. Okay. So let's start out. If you have the room to do anything, join me if you can see me okay. We're just going to start with the waltz box. And for whatever reason, when I start, I like doing the leads part when I'm dancing on my own. So just to start out, leads, which are usually the guys, but really we're all gonna do the same part, so it's cool. We start on our left foot going forward. So for waltz, we're gonna start with a forward step on our left. We're gonna take a side step to our right and put our feet together. And then we're gonna go back on our right foot, back, and then side to the left and put our feet together. So you make a square on the floor, otherwise known as the box step. So with your left foot going forward, you go forward, side, together, and then back on your right foot, back, side, together. Keep going, forward on your left, side, together, back on your right, side, together. I'm gonna turn so you can see it from a different angle. Side, together, back on your right, side, together, forward on your left, side, together, back on your right, side, together. One more time, forward, side, together, back, side, together. All of your steps for waltz are evenly counted. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of you who already dance, it's like merengue for smooth dancing. It's funny to me. Okay, so if I start again, I'm gonna start with my left foot going forward. I'm gonna stand up really tall, which we'll talk about in a second. And I'm gonna go forward, side, together, back on my right, side, together, forward on your left, side, together, back on your right, side, together. With counts, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. If you haven't run into anything yet, you are doing awesome. And if you have, it means you're using the amount of floor that you have, which I like as well. Okay, so when we're doing ballroom dancing, all of the dances always, except for like maybe social swing and salsa, you're going to dance really standing up tall with forward poise. Do we have any tennis players? I don't play tennis. I don't play tennis. So other active sports like basketball or volleyball or things where you have to move and like swing things quickly. I was a gymnast, I don't know. So when you stand with forward poise, you stand, so most of the weight is on the balls of your feet. So as I'm standing to get ready for any dance, I do this, I bounce up and down. Yes, thank you for bouncing with me. And then I stop and I bend my knees a little bit. And with that little bit of flex in my knees, I'm pretty light on my heels, so I can bounce through my heels a little bit. That's good. That's forward poise. You want that all the time. It's not like you're leaning Tower of Pisa towards your partner. You're just towards the balls of your feet. And then, excuse me, you're gonna stand up really tall. So you're just gonna try to get your height from the top of your head, your crown, and pull up. A lot of times that means you're gonna pull in through your center or your core. You're gonna bring your belly button back to your spine. I always hated that idea, but if you have a wall, you can like try to push your belly button towards the wall. You should feel it right away, like through your stomach muscles, your transverse abdominis, which is like the inner ab muscles, not your six pack. But in any case, you're gonna stand up really tall over the balls of your feet. And then here's my fun thing that we're gonna do a contest in next week. Everyone's gonna hold their arms up about shoulder level. As long as you're not gonna like knock over a lamp or anything, and just curve your arms in a little bit. So like my wrists are in front of my elbows. We're all just gonna hold this for as long as we can with this forward poise, standing up over the balls of your feet. And we're gonna do a whole bunch of waltz boxes. So whoever holds up their arms the longest gets a prize. Not this week, next week, but here we are holding up our arms. Ready? Go. We go forward, side, together, back, side, together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep those elbows up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going. Forward, side, together, back on your right, side, together, forward on your left. I'm going to keep rotating so you can see it from all angles. Forward on your left, side, together, back on your right, side, together, forward on your left, side, together, back on your right. One more box. Keep those elbows up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Ooh, I'm still up. Who's up? Who's up? Who's up? Who's up? This is fun to teach this way too. So as we're doing all those boxes, you're trying to hold your own arms up, whether you're a lead, usually the guy's side, who's like this, they're holding their partner's shoulder blade and their partner's arm is draped on top. And then they're like holding hands on this side. Or if you're the follow, your hand is on top of the lead's shoulder and like kind of draped over his arm. And then we're holding hands on this side. No matter which side you're doing, your arms are really kind of in this, your elbows are really kind of in the same spot relative to yourself all the time. So whether you're leading or following, your arms are always like this. There's just a little switch of this or this to do the lead and follow. So practicing holding up your own arms is great. Please do that. Here we are. We're still holding them up. Are they burning yet? Nobody's nodding. All right, we'll keep them up. Let's go. Let's go. Is everyone muted except for me? This is like the antithesis of my group classes. I'm speaking quietly and nobody is giving me feedback. It's great. It's great.
Do you want us to unmute?
No.
Chris, that's definitely your
right?
cue to unmute.
Chris is just nodding hugely. I'm like, that's all you need. That's all I need. Okay. So going back to forward poise. I usually do this like the first couple classes in-person classes. So I figure I might as well do it here too. Because, you know, we've all been off of dancing for a while. So I'm still keeping my arms up. I see several others of you still doing it. Okay, so what I usually do the first couple classes is I make everybody stand with their heels against a wall. For whatever reason, I'm going to this wall this time. And as you want to practice your forward poise, you put your heels against the wall and your rear and your shoulders and your noggin. And this is obviously vertical. No matter how old my house is, this wall is still vertical. So to get into forward poise, I'm going to peel myself off the wall. So I'm over the balls of my feet, but I still have that verticality like through my spine. I'm not like this and I'm not like this, because a lot of times we get like duck butt That's like the most popular one. So you want to make sure your shoulders and your hips are over your feet and that your head is back, because this is the other one, especially since we're all online for everything always now. It's really easy to just have this all the time, and that's going to mess with your ballroom posture. So whack yourself against a wall. I always tell people to do it as they're brushing their teeth. It's hopefully a guaranteed 2 minutes of good posture and good dental hygiene. So go ahead and do that. Or like as you're making your coffee or whatever in the morning. So posture, very important. Arms up. I had arm day at the gym. It's no fair. Okay, so we're doing our boxes. Everything's good. I'm going to show you my little like dorky poster at the end too. I don't know. You can't see it from here. Now we're going to talk about rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. It's what makes waltz look like waltz. I love that I'm dorky dancing and I can't see any of you. I can see you dorky dancing, but it's okay. Okay, so rise and fall. It's where you go up and down through your legs, not your arms, even though I keep doing this. So when you do rise and fall, as you're doing your waltz box, you're going to bend your knees first and some other joints, but we'll talk about that soon. You're going to bend your knees, push yourself across the floor, and then start to go up a little bit more and a little bit more. And then you're going to bend your knees as your heels touch the ground again. You're going to start it all over, but we're going to go slower than that. So the first thing that we have to do is fall. Even though it's called rise and fall, we're going to start with our box step. We're going to have our arms up. We're going to have our forward poise. I'm going to say, here we go, which coincides to 4, 5, 6. If I was playing music, hopefully. So at the end of go, once you hear go, you're going to bend your knees and then do your box step. So it's going to look like this. Here we go. I bend, step, side, together, I bend, step, side, together, bend, step, side, together, bend your knees, step, side, together, bend your knees, step, side, together, bend your knees, step, side, together, one more, bend, side, together, bend and step, side, together. Now, fun thing is, waltz, not here, not today, but waltz is a traveling dance. It should go and move really easily around a huge floor. The reason that we do any falling action is to get a bigger step, because if you stand like this and you take a step and you take like a comfortable size step, it's yay big, right? Try it. Come with me. Stand up tall, take a step. Like even if you try to take a pretty big step, it's not going to be huge. But if you put your feet together and then bend your knees a little bit and then extend your foot in front of you, you can usually take a bigger step. Whether it's like 3 inches or 6 inches or a foot is kind of like up to practice. But doing that lowering action will make it easier for you to separate your feet and get a bigger step and travel more and look cooler. So that's what we're aiming for. So again, nice and slowly, we're going to do a whole bunch of boxes. I'm going to just ramble on about falling or the bending or the squeezing of your joints. So as we go, here we go. I bend my knees. I go step, side, together. I bend my knees and I push off that foot that I'm standing on. I push off my right foot. Now I bend and push off my left foot. I bend and push off my right foot. I bend and push off my left foot. Good, one more, bend and push off your left. Bend and push off your right. Stop here, good. As I'm doing my falling action, just this bending, make sure you are bending all 3 joints. I really want to do head, shoulders, knees, and toes right now, but I will not. You have 3 major joints. I would sometimes say 4, but let's not get there yet. You have hips, knees, and ankles that can compress as you're doing falling action. So when I'm doing my rise and fall, I don't just bend my knees. That's super weird. I let my knees go towards the toes of my feet, which will make my ankles bend too, which will give you just more shock absorption through everything. And we'll talk about that more in a second too. But make sure you're letting your ankles bend as well, because that'll also give you more potential energy to take a bigger step off your standing leg. Whoo! Had some dance vocabulary in there, right? Thank you, thank you. So now I'm gonna go even slower. As I do, here we go. And I bend my knees and my ankles. My knees are going towards the balls of my feet. As I bend, I'm gonna let this free foot, my left foot, go forward. So now I'm in like this shoot the duck position, but I have a lot of power stacked up through the ball of my right foot. And then I can push. I didn't go out of frame, yay. And now I'm gonna go to the side together. Now I'm gonna do the same thing. As I lower and I bend my knees and ankles, my knees go towards the balls of my feet and I let this right foot go out behind me. This one is super important so you don't get kicked by your partner. Lead or follow, you gotta get this foot out of the way. So I lower and extend my free foot and then I push, whoosh. There's my banister. And then I go side together. So let's do it again. We lower and separate. We push, side together. We lower and separate and push, side together. Good. I don't know like how much you guys have done with Latin motion or rhythm motion, however you want to say it. But I feel like when we do rise and fall, we don't like make it as staccato as we do when we learn Latin motion. And that is what we're doing today. So again, we're lowering to separate, boom. There's like your first position. Then you're gonna push, that's all. And then you're gonna go side together. And then again, we lower and separate, just hit that position, and then push off your left foot, and then side together. So again, hit that first spot. One, sorry, that's not actually one. And then push, side together, lower and push, boom, and push, side together. Good, one more time. Ready, and lower and push, side together, lower and push, side together. Good. Ugh. We have a visitor. Don't mind the people on the stairs. Questions so far? I'm giving you like a lot of information, but Lisa's just gonna double it, so it's okay. Yes? We're moving on. We're moving on. Hey dude, what's up? Okay. We have an escapee, it's fine. Okay, we're lowering. Okay, oh, here's the next thing. I'm gonna go backwards, which is weird. I'm gonna put my back to the camera, but I feel like it's easier to match it then. And then I'm gonna turn around and watch you. So hold on. Now, when we go, we've got the end of 3 is where we bend our knees. And then we push on 1. Now we gotta get to 2. That's where we start to rise. So we haven't even started rise yet. We're all about falling action. So now, when we go onto 2, we're gonna go, I go, here we go, and I lower and extend my foot, and I step on 1. Now on 2, I'm gonna go sumo wrestler style. This is not a super pretty position, but I'm like halfway up through my heels, and my knees are still bent. Not a super attractive position, but this is why ladies wear skirts in ballroom dancing. Hey, buddy. Bye. And then as you go to 3, you're gonna continue to rise through 3. So now I'm still not like extended through my legs, because as you saw me do, it's gonna like tip me over right away. You still want a little bit of flex in your knees. But you're gonna go from like this sumo wrestler position where your knees are a little bit bent and you still have some play in your ankles, to bringing your feet together where I can still go a little bit higher through my ankles and I can still go a little bit straighter through my knees, but nobody wants to do that. You'll fall over, or you'll be using your partner to like keep balanced. Boo. So you're never gonna straighten your legs in waltz unless you're like kicking, which then please straighten your leg, but that doesn't really happen for a long time. So come with me again. We're gonna go lower when I say go. Here we go. And we extend, and then we go sumo wrestler position, kind of ugly. We continue to rise as we bring our feet together. Then we lower through our knees and ankles and separate our foot again. We're gonna do the same thing on the back half. So we go push, sumo wrestler position, like halfway to the top. And then we bring our feet together, hello. And we still have a little bit of play through our ankles, a little bit of play through our knees. And then we lower down and let our foot separate again. I'm obviously gonna do this sideways to the camera too, but let's go slowly. Ready? Here we go. One, sumo, continue to rise, lower, push. Sumo wrestler, continue to rise, lower. My floor is sticky and uneven, good. Lower, push, sumo wrestler, continue rise, lower. Push, sumo wrestler, continue to rise, lower. Push, sumo, continue to rise, lower. Ba, 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 ba. One more, and 4, 5, 6. Does anybody's feet hurt? Is it just me? It's fine. Okay, I got a list. So you have 3 joints, correct? Nod a lot. Good, very good. Because what I often see when people are doing waltz are, there's 2 things, 2 big mistakes. Somebody asked me to cover common mistakes. It's literally all I do when I teach. I try to teach the easiest way to do things correctly without a bunch of like extra information, but here's some extra information. So what I often see people do when they're waltzing is they're like, I know I gotta rise and fall. So they put pots on their head and they like super extend through their ankles and their toes, but then they get weeble wobbly at the top and sometimes they do fall down. So you want to keep that little bit of play. The other thing I see is that people know that they have ankles, so they'll like rise and fall through their ankles, but that's it. They won't really use their knees and their hips. And A, you're not really getting that much rise and fall. And B, it's probably super clunky looking. So those are the things that we're trying to avoid by reminding you that you have these great joints in your legs that are super helpful and help you not get injured, which is also a big plus. Like, who's all in this room? This is, oh God, this is amazing. My night is made. That's all I needed to do. Opposite rise and fall is going on. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so we've done the box, right? You're kind of okay with the box? Oh, okay, good, good. I got like 3 thumbs up, that's all I want. Okay, we're gonna go on to like what would usually be the follows underarm turn, but it is a good practice step for not putting your feet together on a step, where when we're doing the box step, we're usually putting our feet together on 3, but there's many steps in waltz where you don't put your feet together on 3, and then people are like, what the hell do I do now? So let's fix that. Hold on, I got a prop. This is the benefit of teaching out of my house. Let me roll out my carpet for you. Okay. So I have this gigantic rug. If you're on team, you've probably done the bowling exercise. Yeah, we got one. Which obviously takes a bit of space because you want to get in like 6 steps consecutively in one row, and yeah, like swing your arms and everything. This is like a mini version, but still good, because if we're only looking to work on rise and fall, you can still get like the ankle and the knees and the just footwork and actual rise and fall of it without having to go anywhere, which is excellent. So if you got out a wastebasket or a pot or something, some object to walk around, put it on the floor, like in the middle of your floor. Yes, I'm so glad you guys all have props. I'll try to remember to warn you next time more ahead of time. But since I have this awesome carpet, I'm gonna do this miniature style on the edge of my carpet. So if you're new, this would be an underarm turn for the follow. The lead would lift their hand and the follow would walk around in a big old circle under that hand and then come back together, and it looks very elegant and princessy. We're kind of ignoring the actual partnering part of it because except for a few of us who have people in their rooms, we're mostly dancing solo. And this can be great practice for both the leads and the follows, so it doesn't matter what part you usually do. This is just practice with continuity style footwork. Oof. All right, so we're gonna start. If you have an object, it should be like on your upper right hand corner, like here. But since I have a big old rug, I'm just gonna go around it. So we're gonna do the foot placement for the follows underarm turn. It's gonna go like this. If you wanna watch first, that's cool. If you know where I'm going, you can come along with me. We're gonna do the first half of the follows box, which means we're gonna go back with our right foot first, back, side, together. And then you're gonna walk around this object for 6 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're gonna do the second half of the follows box, which is forward on the left, side, together. That was a lot of words, so come along with me. If your object is on the floor, it's over on your right in front of you. You're gonna do the first half of a follows box. So starting with your right foot going back, we go back, side, together, forward on your left, left, right, left, right, left, right, and then the half of a box, forward, side, together. So you do half a box, 6 steps in a circle, and then another half of a box. Let's do it again. Ready? And back on your right side, together, left, forward, 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 side, together. Yes, okay, one more time. I'm pretty happy about that. Again, ready, and back on your right side, together, forward on your left, right, left, right, left, right, and then forward on your left side, together, finishes the pattern. For those of you who have been in my class before, it was real hard for me to say the right side of that footwork, and I did it. So happy Tuesday to you. Okay, so now when we do these 6 steps forward in a circle, we have to continue doing rise and fall, or all of a sudden we stop doing waltz, basically. So let us go over that footwork, or the rise and fall, as it were. Sometimes those 2 words, just by the way, footwork and rise and fall, are kind of implied as the same thing. So there's foot placement, which is where you put your feet on the floor, which is like how the geometry of a step is, right? So when I say forward side together, that's foot placement. When I say footwork, it's whether your heel is hitting the ground first, the toe, the ball of your foot is hitting the ground first, whatever that part is, that's footwork. Then rise and fall has a lot to do with that, because you can't really be up in a step, like you can't be on the rise of a step if you're letting your heel hit the ground first. So a lot of times people use the words rise and fall and footwork interchangeably. They're not the same, but in case you need to clarify something, there's some vocab for you. Anyways, so if we do this box step from the beginning, we start with our forward poise. We're gonna lower on the end of 3. We're gonna extend our leg behind us, right? We're all good there. We do step, we do our sumo wrestling position. We continue to rise and close our feet, and then we lower and separate again. This is hard to do on carpet. Let's keep going. So we do our step. Now, we still go to sumo position on 2, even though it's a forward step. So it looks kind of goofy, but again, this is why we get to wear skirts and leads get to wear like nice wide pants. It's all good. Then you continue to rise through 3. So now I still have some play, again, through my ankles and through my knees, but I'm like at the top of my rise. Now, onto my left foot, I'm going to lower onto the ball of my foot. I'm still not like on my heel, and let my right foot go in front of me. Ooh la la. Then I push through my left foot. I go to sumo wrestler position, but forward and back style this time. I continue to rise through 3, just go a little bit higher, lower through my right ball of foot. Need to turn just so you can see me, and separate through and let my left foot come through, and then go forward, side, together. Holy crap. You good? We keep going? We're gonna do it like 10 more times? Yeah, okay. So if you have more room, obviously this is a little bit easier, but just getting that like not super high position on 2 is very important. It's really what I wanna see. So when I like actually make you guys do this on your own and I like look at the class. So just so you guys know, this is like my phone and I'm videoing off my phone, but then I have you all pulled up over here on my laptop so I can see what you're doing, but it's just over here. So if I start talking over here, I'm not crazy. Okay, back to the underarm turn-ish. So we start with our feet together, forward poise. We're gonna lower and separate our feet. We go 1, we go sumo wrestling position 2, 3, we move our carpet. We go push 1, sumo wrestling position, check it out. Make sure you're not extended through your knees or your ankles. Continue to rise a little bit through 3. Now use your left foot and the real good ankle control through that left foot to lower onto the ball of your foot. Then push through that left foot to catch yourself on your right. Go to sumo wrestling position on your 2. Your left foot is forward. Continue to rise through 3, going a little bit higher onto your right foot. Lower onto the ball of your right foot. Let your left foot extend and go step side together. Just do all that. I got all the words out. Let's go a little bit faster. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and I was trying to stay on the carpet and I just didn't. So I'm gonna go around it. Okay, we good? Let's do it one more time so I can redeem myself. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and good. Good, good, good. Okay, do it one more time. Now I'm gonna watch you guys. Ready? Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and yes. Okay, I have to tell you. So, I have a friend who's a violin teacher, and she's a really good teacher. And she'll always say, "I see great improvements since last time." And I'm gonna say it. I see great improvements since the time before that. Anyways, so as you're going around, hello, as you're going around and you're practicing this kind of lower 2, what will usually happen? Okay, I need to get rid of this. 1 second. You should see my hallway over here. There's a lot of stuff over there. As you do your 2, what will usually happen? I'm gonna do this like 3D version if I can. As you lower on the end of 3 and you go, here we go. So this is like entering into 1, but as you do 1, you're usually not on 1. You're usually between your feet. And you might be like, oh my God, I'm going too slow. I'm not keeping up with the music. You're doing a great thing. So if you're practicing slowly, which we are right now, as I count, a lot of times I'll count 1 and it'll be kind of like in between feet. And then as I do 2, I always count 2, hello, so you can see my feet. I always count 2 here in the sumo wrestling position, not 2 over here or 3 here. It's like you're counting the beat where you are in between your feet. And that actually makes it look a lot more musical. So if you dance, and if you're new, oh my Lord, ignore all of the things I'm saying. If you're brand new and today's your first class, do exactly what I'm going to do now. When you start ballroom dancing and you hear waltz music and it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you should dance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like boom, get your weight over each beat. Fantastic. I freaking love it. Dance on the beat. Huzzah. But when you start adding in rise and fall and you're like, oh, I kind of get what waltz is now, then as you're dancing it, most of the time, to make it look smoother, as in the smooth style, you'll do 1, 2 in this middle position, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're not really counting the time that you get your full weight on over your foot. If that makes sense, great. If not, don't worry about it. But if you're dancing slowly or practicing by yourself or practicing with partners, as you're actually going with music, the beat where you count your snap would be where you're in between your feet on all of those counts. This is 2, this is 3, like kind of in between feet, and then you're on your merry way. Yes? No? Thumbs up? Anybody? Yes! All I want is like 1 or 2, and I got like 5. I'm so happy. Okay. Oh my gosh. We're doing so well. Hold on. Okay. Here's my other dorky thing. When you're doing continuity style figures, like this underarm turn. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So some people will call it continuity style, where you're not putting your feet together. You're not continuing. In bronze, all but one figure, you have to close your feet on 3. You can do a chasse. That's like your only continuity style step. When you're doing silver American style waltz, you don't often close your feet on 3. You don't put your feet together on 3. So then you end up doing continuity style. Some people will call it silver. There's another, feather finishes, all those things. They mean the same thing. So as you do this continuity style, and even in this underarm turn, as we do 1, 2, 3, and we start walking around, 4, 5, 6. Now here's my terrible waltz joke. When you lower, you should lower with your best friend, Tony Heel. You can shake your head at me, it's fine. It's terrible. If you guys know Scott Anderson, who runs Twin Cities Open, this is his joke. So it's kind of a dad joke too. But you lower through your toe first, which is kind of obvious because it's the first thing that hits the ground. But then you lower through your knee, like your knee is gonna bend, and then your heel lowers to the ground as you gather your feet underneath you. So your best friend in Rise and Fall is Tony Heel, which I remember, like, I don't know, 15 years after he told me that the first time. It's still funny to me. So as we're gonna go like super duper duper slow, and we're gonna do this underarm turn figure. So going from our right foot free, going backward first, the follows part for the underarm turn, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then we go forward, 1, 2, here comes our Tony heel, toe, knee, heel, 4, 5, here's Tony heel again, toe, knee, heel. And it makes it nice and squishy when you land, as opposed to like letting your heel kind of slam down or not using your knee. I think I said the right anatomy parts for what I wanted, because a lot of times it's hard to control your ankles. I mean, how often do you have to do this action ever? So guess what I have for you now? More exercises. So I'm going to review really quick, give you this exercise, and let you guys ask questions if you have any. So little drills to do, just to get in forward poise position. People do this like through the ages of their dancing. They'll do this little jumping thing so they can get into forward poise. It like activates your center really quickly, and it gets you in like a very active feeling position. So like you'll see people, pros, blah, 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 everybody does that little exercise. The other thing, just to make sure you're like vertical in all of your I don't know, high points are in order is push yourself against a wall, heels, rear, shoulders, head, and then peel yourself off so you're standing over the balls of your feet. Those are two really good ones. And then here's the third one. I happen to have a staircase here. You don't really need stairs. I also said if you had a chair, you could use this. So not that we're doing ballet or that I ever did it well, but you can hold on to something or not, but go up as high as you can through your ankles and then lower 1, 2, 3, and then go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like you could put waltz music on, be very meditative, and go nice and slow through this range of motion. On these, on just this exercise, I'd want you to go as far as you can, like get as much extension through your ankles as you can. Bonus points. If you have a stair, which I so well do right here, you can hang your ankles in your heels off the edge of it, and then squeeze, 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 and go up all the way through that extension, and then back down through your heels, and then up, 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 up. And same thing, like do it to the count of 3, nice slow waltz music, up and down, like until it hurts. So, and then do like 10 more after it starts to hurt, right? I'm like the trainer who goes, and one more, and one more. So that's what I would do if I was like literally watching you and making you do it. Okay, questions? Nobody has any questions.
I have a question.
I love questions. Give me your question, lady.
Thanks, Kate. So when prepping for the back step,
Yeah.
I'm having trouble getting into my heel on time. So I'm getting into my toe. So I can get into my heel okay going forward. I feel like, do you have tips for that going backwards?
So many tips. And of course, like I'm not wearing like real shoes right now, you know, but it holds the same and it actually makes it way easier to dance in like heels. So as you lower through like our back half of the box, like our forward side together. So if I do 1, 2, 3, as I lower here, can you see my feet? As I lower here, I'm still making sure I have super forward poise. So I'm going to use my banister for a second because I have to stand here for a minute. I'm lowering through my left ball of foot, and I'm continuing to move forward and letting this knee push forward while extending my leg. What usually happens is we know that we have to go backward. So a lot of times as we lower, we're like, well, I got to go backward. And like our heel will hit the ground too fast and we're like already going. And a lot of times we'll hear, you're pulling me, or you're pulling your partner or whatever. And you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm not. And you're not like pulling them. It's just, even if you have the most magnificent frame ever, if you start to lower like square over your foot, you're already too far backward and you are pulling your partner. So as we lower going backward, and this goes for both leads and follows. This goes for both leads and follows. I would say it's actually worse for leads because you go forward so much at the beginning. You're like, I'm good going backwards. And bless you all. You often suck at going backwards. It's okay. Okay, I still love you. So as we do our backward step, or as we're preparing to do our backward step, I do 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, so far, it feels stupid how far forward I am, but I can still do this with my heel on like the end of 3. And then I'm extending this foot out. There's 2 things that happen. Either we lower kind of square over our foot, so we're like comfortable and we're not still with forward poise, or we don't get this foot out of the way. So if my heel has hit the ground and my right foot hasn't moved, we're screwed, man. I can't, my partner's gonna kick me. It's gonna be all my fault. We're all gonna cry. We won't cry. There's no crying in ballroom, but the point of it is that you have to stay so far forward on whatever foot it is. So if I do the left box again, or like the leads part, and I go 1, 2, 3. I'm like extending this foot, but my heel's nowhere near the floor. And then I just roll through it for a second. Same thing would happen if I do a right box, which all of a sudden I can't remember. 1, 2, 3. And as I lower through my right foot, I let my left foot extend out and I'm still on the ball of my right foot. And then I just push through it. But like, as you're practicing it, especially on your own, it should feel so far forward. I do make people do it against a wall sometime. So like their knee almost hits the wall before anything else does. So that's like a nice little reference point for you. Such a good question.
That was so helpful. That was maybe the best explanation I've heard of that. And now I feel bad for pulling my partner because I sure was.
I did for years. It's okay. It's
Unfortunately, that solves a lot of conflict.
Right? Oh, it's so terrible what we do to our partners. Anybody else? I feel like I'm in a huddle, even though I can really only see Genova right now. Chris, I know you have a question. Come on. Come on.
I don't even know what I don't know.
That's stage. My favorite stage. There's stuff that happens. Okay.
Did I have a question?
Yes, Ames, go.
Okay, so when we were doing the sumo pose,
Yes.
I was thinking, okay, this doesn't feel like a very big step compared to my first step.
Yeah.
Is that good? Should I make it smaller? Should I make it bigger?
This is such a good question. So if this was the first class of the real session, I would not answer this question. I'd be like, Ames, boy, talk to me afterwards. But here we are, and I love this question. It's such a good question. Okay, so when you lower to separate your feet, right? So that one step is going to be big if we're just basing it on rise and fall. Again, if we're just basing the 2 on rise and fall, you can't go as far because you're risen. Like if I straighten out my legs, I can take I can go down into the splits, but nobody wants to do that with me. That's ridiculous. And then my weight isn't over, whatever. So when you do your 2-step based on rise and fall, it's not going to be a very big step, especially compared to 1 where you got to like lower. Eventually, we'll get into this later in the semester, you can add sway, which will scoot that foot a lot wider to the side. Not today, but when we start talking about swing and sway, that's where it'll help increase your 2 and your 3 as we add more and more technique. Good question. Does that help? Was that good? Was that a leading question? Did you already know the answer?
No, I was genuinely curious.
Okay, there it is. Swing and sway, babe. Okay.
A question kind of going off of that I had before he asked. Like to get to that like left and then right left, to get to that side step, I'm feeling a lot of push off of my left foot after I just pushed with my heel for my right off of like go off my left. Is that I know it's supposed to be more of like a gliding like kind of feel to it, but like how much is it a push and how much is it just carrying momentum?
Oh, amazing. You guys are like rocking the questions. Okay, so again, if we're just basing this on rise and fall, we're really kind of only talking about pushing off of your standing leg. And I'm going to go over it because I feel like I say standing leg a whole lot, especially during, what's the fall thing that isn't kind of sort of maybe happening? Who knows? Blast. Fest. It's a one word onomatopoeia. Okay.
Blast.
Blast. Okay, so I'll always be like, get over your standing leg. So whatever leg that you're standing on is your standing leg, which sounds so obvious when I say it, but when we're moving, it sometimes gets a little bit unclear. So if I'm doing rise and fall and I'm like, we're doing rise and fall and nothing else. I'm talking about when we start our box, I'm standing over my right foot. So my right foot is my standing leg. And then I push off of it onto my left foot. Now my left foot's my standing leg. And I push off of it to get into sumo position. And then I use my right foot to like pull those two together. And then I'm off on my merry way to push off my left foot, blah, blah, blah. So as again, we go through the steps O technique. When you're doing all of your steps, you are gonna push off of your standing leg. But now, as I transfer my weight, now this is my standing leg, and I'm like kind of 50-50 right now. But as that transfer of weight happens, now I start pulling with my left leg. And now I'm pushing off my left leg, but then pulling onto my right. And it's like constantly push-pulling. So that's part one of the answer to your question. Part two is we're like stuck in Tinyville, right? Like all of us. So we're kind of like holding back with momentum. If we use momentum, I'm going to go out my front door and be dancing down the street, which is weird in this neighborhood. So we won't do that. But as you do like rotational figures, which we're also not really doing, then the momentum and like pendulum action of using rise and fall and swing and sway will start like the physics happening, and then it will be less work. And that is a miraculous point that you can get to where you're like, oh, this kind of feels like floating instead of like pushing from foot to foot, which right now it really should. Like as we're doing rise and fall and as you're like practicing things slowly, it should feel kind of clunky, which is not a big draw for ballroom dancing. But if you're interested in getting better, it is. So Mason, to put it in a nutshell, if you're just doing rise and fall, it should feel kind of like push, push, push from foot to foot. Once we add swing and sway and some more space and rotation, that's when you can get momentum going and it'll feel more like fun than work. Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Thumbs up. Who else?
I have a quick question.
Ask me.
For the drill where you're like against the wall, when you peel yourself off, should your heels, they shouldn't lift off the ground, should they?
Like if you're just standing there, no. But like it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Like you don't want to be in like releve. Not that again, I didn't really do ballroom or ballet. I did ballroom. I don't really do ballet, but like you don't want to be on your toes the whole time. So you do want to feel your heels on the ground, but like there's no weight in them. So as I kick myself off the wall, that's what I like to call it. Like my heels do lift up for a second, but then like I put them back down on the ground. So yes,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
I can't remember how you phrased the question, but hopefully that answered it.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, going along with that one.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, so with the peeling yourself off the wall drill,
Yeah.
if I can peel myself off the wall really far, is the idea to get yourself barely off the wall or a lot?
It's to get yourself off the wall, because when you're on the wall, you probably have some weight into your heels and you're like pushing yourself against the wall, where like you want to end up over the balls of your feet. So like I said at the beginning, it feels like a long time ago now, like you don't want to be leaning Tower of Pisa where you have to curl your toes to keep your balance. If you have to curl your toes, you've gone too far. You should be able to wiggle your toes still very happily, like in your shoes or bare feet or whatever. When you're in a forward poise position, that's like maintainable for minutes upon minutes upon minutes, right? So if I'm like kicked back against the wall, like my weight's probably back in my heels and I kind of feel like I have a double chin and like a lot of weirdness is happening. And when I kick myself off the wall, I'm comfortably towards the balls of my feet, but I just have some like tension through my center, my abdomen, and then the back of my head is still working back, like it's trying to find the wall. Because again, like the biggest part of doing that wall exercise is getting your head back. Because a lot of times when like, I'll go up to people and I'll put my forearm on like right on their spine in between their shoulder blades, and I'll be like, put your head in my hand, and they'll be like, oh, it's like so far back. And it's because like most of the time, like when we stand around like this, and you're like on a computer and your head's forward and you don't even know what like how far back vertical is. So most of the wall exercise is actually to kind of get your head back. Yeah. I'm pointing at Ben. Their little faces are like so close. Yes. Any more? These are such good questions.
I have one.
Shoot.
So you mentioned that kind of throughout the process, even at the highest points, your knees are never fully like extended and locked out.
Yeah.
What about when you're taking a heel lead forward?
I would say that I would still not want that knee fully extended, because I've seen people wreck their knees that way. So does anybody do deadlifts? Yeah. So like when you do deadlifts, like your legs are straight, but you want to be like squeezing through your legs. So like I can straighten my leg all the way, and it kind of hyperextends a little bit, which is great for other things, but not for now. And it's kind of the same thing where you want a little bit of like activation, like yoga, where you don't want to just straighten it, because now all I'm using is my quad, and I'm not using the back of my leg as much as I could. And a lot of times people will blow out their knees taking a forward step. Oh, it's so painful. So that's part of the reason, like, even if you're just gunning it and like getting the biggest step possible, I would still have like just the tiniest bit of like, I always want to say activation, but it's such a crappy dance teacher word. Like I want a little bit of flex in this knee. So like, no matter what happens, I can still like catch myself if I'm like, oh, like my heel slid too far, or I caught an edge in the floor, tripped on somebody or whatever. So I still wouldn't extend my knee all the way, straighten my leg all the way, whatever you want to say. I'd still keep it bent just a little bit.
Is that consistent across the style?
Yeah. Again, like the only time you would straighten your leg if you're doing some sort of like picture-y line, like the guy's doing an oversway or something, or the lady's doing a developpe. Sorry, I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of all the stupid category things. But yeah, and then if you're hitting Latin or rhythm, then you can straighten away. But having that little extra play in your knee is really helpful for both injury prevention and actually getting some more distance and swing and swaying. A bunch of pendulum-y things.